So let's come on down to our mat. We'll start on our backs today. So as you find your way there, take your time. You know what? I have to do a quick adjustment, but you go ahead and find your way on down to your back. I'll meet you there. As you get down onto your back, wiggle and stretch, do what you need to do. Find the spaces that allow you to feel what it's like to land on your mat, whether it's the first time coming down to the ground today onto your mat. Do what you need to do. Maybe you wiggle, maybe you stretch, maybe you take a full body stretch even. Find your way, find your way. Because that's what this is all about, is finding our way. Finding our way through the discomfort, finding our way through all of the unfamiliar, finding our way in the ways that we move that honor our body, honor where we're at today. And if you're using the playlist as you're finding your way down onto your mat, you could go ahead and hit play. Go ahead and hit play. I'll try to remind you to when it's time to turn it off. But as you find your way there, take your left leg and bend your left leg and bring your right knee up here into your body. As you bring your right leg up into your body here, just hold your own right leg. You could hold behind your right knee. You can hold around your right shin. But give it here a little pull in, just a little, just using the natural weight of your own arm. Let your arm be heavy here. Now, reach your left arm up. So as you reach your left arm up, just notice what that's like in your shoulder. If your shoulder says no thank you to that, maybe take your arm out more like in like it would be like a Y or a V shape, just out in a diagonal line, and see if that gives you a little bit more space in your shoulder. Now, if your shoulder still says not so much, you could have it out to the side or even more like in a goalpost shape. So allow your left arm to find its way up. As you bring your right leg into your body, can you hold your right leg there? Okay. And as you hold your right leg there, without using your right hand, now free your right arm up. So let both arms come up over your head or out in more of the V shape. Okay, whatever works on your shoulders today. But now wherever your arms are and your right leg staying where it is, can you then press the back of your arms down into the ground and draw in at your rib cage? Now that doesn't mean you have to flatten your low back to the ground, but feel how sometimes when we lift our arms up over our head that the rib cage wants to open up. So instead, I want you to think about drawing some in at your rib cage. Okay? Stay there just for another moment. Give your arms a break and pull your left leg up. So now both legs are going to be up into your chest, up and towards your belly, and hold around your knees or hold around your shins. And give your knees some circles here on the ceiling. Let your shoulders again just reset and feel just a little heavy. And go both directions with your knees. And then set your right foot down on the floor. And right now your left arm or your left hand is holding your left leg there. Bring your right arm up wherever it's at. If it's directly up, like more in line with your ear, have your palm facing up. And the same if your arm is more out to the side in either a goal shape or in that V, have your palm facing up. Now keep your left leg where it is and bring your left arm up. Now again, notice that when your arms go up over your head, if your rib cage flares out, so feel how that's almost imagine there's like a diagonal line, and the right side of your rib cage you could draw towards your left hip, and the left side of your rib cage you can draw towards your right hip. Press the backs of your hands down into the ground and notice how that energizes your shoulders. And notice your breath. Easy in through your nose and easy out through your nose. Notice if you lift your chin, create some length in the back of your neck. Let both arms go and bring both of your knees up. And again, give yourself a little hug or take some circles with your knees again on the ceiling. Hi, Patty. I'm glad you could make it. Go both directions if you're taking some circles with your knees. Yeah, that's it. Now pause. Allow your legs to stay in this shape, but it's going to be more like a chair shape, okay? And your shoulder blades are connected here on the ground, and notice if they're rounded. It happens to me all the time. So take your shoulder blades and make sure that they're underneath you here. Now, with your legs in this chair shape, take your right hand this time towards your left leg. As your right hand comes towards your left leg, take your left arm up, okay? Now you could stay here, pressing your right hand into your left leg and like energetically then pulling your left leg towards your belly, drawing in your rib cage. You could stay just like so and call it a day. This is perfect. This is great work right here. Drawing into the center, left arm reaching away. And now you can add on if you'd like. You'd never have to straighten your leg, and your right leg never has to go towards the floor. But maybe you start to lengthen your right leg away from you to any degree, just any degree. So you're lengthening your right hip, and from lengthening your right hip, you're going to lengthen your right knee some, but only to your degree, and then bring your right leg back in, like zip it back in. That's it. So keep pressing your right hand on your left thigh and reach your right leg out in front of you. Now, if it goes long, sure. If it wants to hover right above the floor, sure. But notice what happens at the rest of your spine when you do that. Bring your right leg back in. Okay. Yep, right leg reaching. Keep pressing the back of your left hand into the floor. And then bring your right leg back to any degree. Notice if you start to open up your rib cage or if you start to increase the curve in your low back. Reaching your right leg out, pulling your left leg up. Bring your right leg back in. One more time. Press your left leg. Don't lose that. Press your left hand and reach your right leg long. That's it. Bring your right leg back in. Give yourself a little break here. Again, little knee circles. That's it. Both directions. Notice what goes on in your low back. Okay, return your legs into that chair shape. Your left hand this time is going towards your right thigh, and your right arm is going up. Wherever your right arm is, again, remember it can be out to the side. It's okay. Press the top of your hand. Press it down into the ground. Press your left hand into your right leg and pull your right leg towards your left hand. Now reach your left leg out in front. Yeah, to any degree. It doesn't have to be far. And then zip it right back in. That's it. Reach, and maybe each time it gets a little bit longer, and then pull it back in. Knitting in at your ribs, staying engaged in through your center, reach your left leg, and then bring it back in. Now again, if you reach your left leg long and you feel like your low back starts to increase the curve or your rib cage flares out, I don't want you to go as far. I just want you to make the shape smaller. That's it. Keep breathing. Keep moving. One more time here to reach the left leg long, and then zip it back in. Bring both of your knees in towards your chest. Take some circles with your knees, move in both directions, maybe even roll a little side to side. That's it. That's it. If you've gone one way, go the other way. Maybe pause somewhere in the middle and give your legs a squeeze. And as we transition, you've got some choices here. Maybe you want to rock and roll of your spine. We're going to find our way to our hands and our knees. But you could also just simply roll to your side and find your way onto your hands and your knees that way. So you choose which any way. You always have options. Always have options. So as you come here onto your hands and your knees, take your time. But what I want you to do, instead of thinking about stacking your knees underneath your hips, I want you to bring your knees just a little bit more in. So what we're going to do is we're increase the hip flexion just a smidge for a little bit more activation there in the low belly. So as you find your hands down on the ground, for a moment here, take your right knee and bring your right leg towards your belly without rounding your back. So keep the integrity in through your spine, just as it was, and just move your hip. That's it. And then bring your right leg down, your right knee down right where it was, and then just bring your left leg up. Now notice by moving your hip, your pelvis can stay the same. Now we've been talking about that lately, haven't we? Do that again. Right leg just pulls up, but keep that integrity. Pulling at your ribs there. Bring your right knee back down, and then left leg comes up. Does your shoulder stay the same? Does your pelvis stay the same? Now, you could stay just with that, just those marching legs on our knees. Perfect. Or bring your right leg up, take your left hand to your right knee. Press. So you're balancing on your right hand and your left knee. Your left toes can be curled under, or you could be on the top of your left foot. Absolutely. Lengthen the back of your neck. And then set your right knee down, left hand down. Find the center, neutral spine, left knee coming up off of the floor. It doesn't have to go very far. Bring your right hand towards your left thigh. Press. Feel that connection and that space between your right rib cage and your left hip. That's it. Breathe. Notice when you're holding your breath. Bring your left knee back down. Bring your right hand down. And again, left hand, right knee. Press. Now, on your next breath in, lengthen it out. So your left arm is going out in front of you. Your right leg does not need to go far. You're just stretching it behind you to any degree. You can even bring your toes down on the ground and then lift up. You can keep the bend in your knee and reach it back behind you. So lots of degrees to play with. It works for you. Bring your left hand back down to your right leg. Press again. Seal it back into the center. Little balance work. Set your right knee down. Bring your left hand down. Give yourself a moment there to reset your breath if you lost it. That happens, especially with holding patterns and balancing. It totally happens to everyone. Right hand, left leg. But your left leg is not crossing your body. It's just coming straight in front of your left hip. Press your right hand so your right arm is what's crossing your midline. You press to your degree. You could also even bring your toes down on the ground if you need to on your left foot. On your next breath in, keep the length in the back of your neck. Reach your right leg long to your degree. Never has to be straight. Your right arm is reaching out in front of you. Now you might notice with your right arm how it feels to have your thumb up or palm down. It's a subtle difference, but sometimes it can be easier on our shoulder to have thumb up. Bring your left leg and your right hand connected again. Press. Yeah. Bring your left leg down. Right hand down. Both hands down on the ground. Exhale, press the ground away, cat pose. So press into the ground, round your front body here into your back body. Let your chin come in towards your throat. Your toes could stay curled under it if you like, or press down to the tops of your feet and your shins. And inhale, lift up from the back of your sacrum, draw your chest forward, breathe in. Using the length to segment through your spine. There's no rush, take your time. And then when you're ready to exhale, which means it might take several inhales to come into flexion of your spine. It may take several inhales and exhales to take your spine into extension. But I want you to feel out what's going on in your low back. I want you to feel out what's going on along the backside of your rib cage. What's going on around your chest, around your neck. Yeah, always add those extra wiggles as you need to. One more time here in cat. So spread your upper back, press down either to your shins or your toes can be curled under. Draw into yourself. Return here to neutral. Breathe in, lengthen the back of your neck. Curl under your toes if they're not already. Lift up your knees. Press your hips back and up for a downward facing dog. And as you get there, wiggle and shift. Move side to side, lengthen one leg, again, and then the other. Notice your neck, maybe take your chin a little side to side. Breathe all the way in, feel a little bit of length in both of your legs, but you can keep a bend in your knees. It can be a generous bend or a little bend. Now let's see what it'd be like to shift the weight here, okay? And you can always come back to your hands and your knees. Take your right knee and lift your right toes as you bring your right leg towards your belly. Just for now, we're just on 3. So both hands are where they are right now. Bring your right foot back down. Keep anchoring through both of your arms. Press strong through your hands and pick up your left foot, bend your left knee, pull your left knee into your belly, but notice when your pelvis wants to do that work for you. Let your hip do the work. Bring your left foot back down. Just feel that out again. Picking up the right foot, right heel towards your bum, maybe even. Pull your right leg towards your belly, but without rounding your back, or minimize the rounding in your back. Bring your right foot down, press through your right foot, both hands keep pressing, pick up your left foot. Bring your left foot down. Now maybe that's where you stay, or maybe you take left hand, right knee. Your right foot doesn't have to lift, they can just find each other. You might peek forward to help balance, or maybe you're on your right foot and your left foot and right hand, and you bring your right hand towards your left knee. Take that back, left hand towards your right knee. Bring your left hand back down, bring your right foot back down. That's it, find center again. All right, bending your left knee, so you're pulling in at your left hip. Right hand towards your left knee. Again, your left toes can even stay on the floor. Catch yourself if it gets a little tippy, it's okay. Yeah, press your left knee, your left thigh, and your right hand. That's it. Bring your right hand back down, left hand back down, downward facing dog. Shake your head a little side to side. Now take a walk to the top of your mat. Anyway, it might be big steps, it might be little steps. Take your time, find your way on up. Once your feet get forward by your thumbs, take your feet a little wide, bend at your knees, hinge at your hips. Feel how that lift up now in the front of your hips. So just like that space you were closing in when we were on our back and bringing our leg towards our belly, using our hip flexors, same thing here. So there's this pulling up into the front of the hip to lift our sitting bones up, let your head go. Yeah, you can hold opposite elbows. You can turn your palms up on the ground. Your hands can be on blocks here. Yeah, let your neck go. Again, in through your nose, out through your nose, the best that you can. Now generously bend your knees, hinge at your hips, reach down strong through your feet, and begin to rise all the way up. As you rise all the way up, let your arms lift up over your head. And then exhale, pause your hands in front of your heart. Breathe into your feet here. Now, if this works in your shoulders, bring your right hand back behind your head. And bring your left hand to the back of your sacrum. Now, my left hand, I'm on the back of my hand, okay, versus on my palm. But honor your shoulders. If this does not work in one of your shoulders, then just leave it out. If you're near a wall and this is not friendly on your shoulders, you can use a wall for this too. But what I want you to do is I want you to lengthen the back of your neck and reach your back of your head into your right hand and draw your right elbow out. So notice when the shoulders want to round in here. Reach your elbows away from your center and lengthen the back of your neck. Now notice your left hand if it's on the back of your sacrum there. And allow it almost to like reach in and down at your sacrum. And when you do that, you might feel how your sacrum and the back of your skull almost find space and length away from one another. Okay. Another moment here. Now take your hands, shift the weight to your right foot, and bring both of your hands to your left leg. So as you bring your left leg up, press your hands into your leg and keep the length in the back of your neck. Okay? Now keep your right hand there and reach your left arm up. So just where we were before, right? On our back, but now we're standing. That's it. Keep the length in the back of your neck. And then let your left foot go. Bring that back down. Bring your left arm down. Roll your shoulders up towards your ears and down your back. Bring your left hand behind your head, your right hand here. So turn your thumb down and bring the back of your hand to the back of your sacrum. Reach your elbows out. The tendency here is when our arms are in this shape, because we're internally rotated at the right arm here, our shoulder wants to wing forward. So I want you to draw your right shoulder blade on your back the best that you can. Just the best you can. Let it go if you need to let it go. Again, a wall is a fantastic tool here. Start to shift the weight to your left foot. Feel the length in the back of your neck, crown, or the sacrum here, or your back of your pelvis, and the back of your head reaching away from another, and bring your right leg up and bring your hands to your right leg. Press your hands into your right leg as you're actively pulling your right leg up. Press long through your standing leg here on your left leg. Now keep your left hand where it is and reach your right arm up. As you reach your right arm up, it's like the length from your left leg allows you to keep getting longer. Feel the action in your center. Yeah, that's it. That's it. Bring your right foot back down. Let your hands come down here beside your body. Breathe into your feet. Feel what it's like to be here on both of your feet. Reset in the center. Now, you might take your hands back of your head, back of your pelvis again to find that did you keep that neutral spine? Did you keep that vertical space? Sometimes it's nice just to check and be like, oh yeah, there it is. Okay. All right. So now this time, take your hands to your right leg. Slide your right hands down your hands down your right leg as you hinge at your hips and reach your chest forward. Shift the weight to your right leg and pick up your left leg. Now, it doesn't have to be very far, or you can draw your left heel towards your seat. Keep pressing your hands into your right leg. Keep reaching your chest forward. Slide your hands up your leg as you stand up tall and set your left foot down. That's it. Bring your hands across your body towards your left hip and down your left leg as you shift the weight to your left leg. Hinge at your left hip, reach your chest forward. So it's almost like you're starting like a little squat and then pick up your right toes. And you could pick up your toes, put them down, pick them up, put them down. Or you can draw your right heel towards your seat. That's it. Keep reaching your chest forward here. That's it. Bring your hands, slide them back up your leg as you stand up on your left leg and bring your right foot down. Take your hands across your belly, slide down your right leg, hinge at your hips, reach your chest forward. Use the pressure here to feel the engagement in your center. Pick up your left foot, keep pressing into your right leg. Now, start to send your left leg back behind you. So the left leg can be bent, but start to reach away from your center here. Draw the outside of your right hip like you're hugging it in. Now we're just stretching away from our center. Bring your left leg back towards the middle so you can line it up, set it down, stand up as you bring your hands across your belly. Down your left leg, hinge at your hips, reach your chest forward. Think long as you lift up. Pick up your right foot. Now start to stretch your right leg back behind you. You can keep your right leg even bent here. It doesn't have to go very far. It can even still hover up off of the ground, or it can be a bigger reach. Use your glute on your right leg. Keep pressing your hands onto your left leg. That's it. Bring your right leg back towards the center. Slide your hands up. Set your right foot down. Okay, now we're going to start moving more. Right hand slide down your right leg as you hinge. Press your hands. Lift your left leg. Send your right leg back. Use the hinge at your right hip to step your left toes all the way back into a crescent warrior. And then come up in this vertical space. And as you come up into this vertical space, press your left hip forward by using your left glute. So you can adjust your stance here. You can make this longer or you can make it shorter. Okay. Now let both arms maybe lift up or maybe out into that V shape. Whatever's friendlier on your shoulders today. Yeah, give yourself a breath all the way in here. Stay for your breath out. When you exhale, bring your hands down to the ground. So you're going to hinge at your right hip again. As you hinge at your right hip, now here could be blocks, right? Here could be blocks. Now, once your fingertips come out to the ground or on blocks, lengthen your front leg. Draw your right hip crease up and back. Keep stretching your breastbone towards your right toe. That's it. Pressing the ground away, breathing all the way in. Stay here for your breath out. Now, bend into your front leg. Reach your chest forward. Again, hands can still be on blocks. You can keep your back knee lifted, or you can lower your back knee down to the ground and spin your belly to the right as your right arm goes up. Simple twist. There's not a lot of things that are simple about this shape. Why do they call it this? Draw your left shoulder away from your ear. Yeah, that's it. Use your left glute. Stabilize. Reach. Yeah, that's it, Sophie. Exhale, bring your right hand down. As you lift up your back knee, option, step to the top of your mat because that's where we're going to meet each other. Or plant your hands and step back to a downward facing dog. If you step to the front of your mat, notice your feet on the ground. Breathe. If you're in downward facing dog, again, you could stay here or roll forward for a plank. Lower your knees to the ground. Yeah, pull your palms back so you feel your chest reaching forward. Gather into your center. Like imagine that X across your belly from your rib cage to your hips. When you bend at your elbows, lower all the way down to the ground. Release your pelvis, shoulders away from your ears. Inhale for cobra. Exhale as you lower, curl into your toes, push away the ground. We'll meet back in a downward facing dog. Give yourself a breath in here. Stay for your breath out, and then find your way to the top of your mat. If you're working with the space in the front of your hips, you might bend generously into your knees and tippy-toe up to the top of your mat. That's it. Halfway lift as you breathe in, lengthen the back of your neck. And exhale, hinge as you fold. Reach down through your feet, rise all the way up on your breath in. Exhale, pause your hands in front of your heart. Bring your hands down your front of your left thigh. As you hinge at your hips, reach your chest forward. Bring your right leg up. Start to reach it back. And as you reach it back, keep pressing into your left leg, keep reaching your chest forward. And then as you hinge deeper at your left hip, maybe, or not, you could stay just like this and set your right foot down and come up for a crescent warrior here. So here, this space could be really short, and that's beautiful and powerful and strong, right? Working with that stability here. Maybe for you, you're working with the strength and mobility and reaching away from your midline, and that's when you're going to deepen your stance. So you choose. Yeah, you choose. Arms up, keep pressing strong into your right glute. That's it. One more moment here. Imagine that space where you are holding the back of your head. Lengthen the back of your neck. And then when you exhale, bring your hands all the way down to the ground or maybe onto blocks. And then stretch your front leg. So lengthen your front leg. Draw your left hip crease up and back. Reach your chest forward. That's it. As you inhale, bend into your front leg. Your back knee can come down to the ground, like so, or keep it lifted. Turn your belly to the left, reach your left arm up. Your left hand could also go to your left thigh. Is another great option, especially to give a little more ease to your neck and your shoulder if you need it today. Keep lengthening the back of your neck here, even though you're in the twist. Turn your chest to the left. And then exhale, bring your left hand down. Again, option here, step to the top of your mat or step back, downward facing dog. Roll forward for a plank. Lower your knees down to the ground. Again, remember, right rib cage, left hip. Left rib side of your rib cage, right hip. Gather into your middle there. That's it. Lengthen the back of your neck. Keep the length in the back of your neck. And then bend at your elbows. Pull your chest forward. Lower all the way. Release your pelvis down to the ground. Press your pubic bone down. Press the tops of your feet and lift your chest for a cobra. Exhale as you lower, curl under your toes, push away the ground, and hips up and back for a downward facing dog. Give yourself a breath all the way in here. Stay for your breath out and then find your way to the top of your mat. Again, options can be big step to the top of your mat, feeling and working with the strength and mobility in the front of your hip. Or maybe you're playing with keeping the hips lifted and you tippy-toe to the top of your mat. Inhale with a halfway lift. Again, reach the front of your body to the back of your body here and lengthen the back of your neck, even though you're reaching your chest forward. And then exhale, fold. Reach down through your feet, rise all the way up on your breath in. And then exhale, pause your hands in front of your heart. Release your hands at your side. Breathe into both of your feet. Again, lengthen, and you can always take that moment to pause and find the length if you want. Yeah, you can use your hands to give yourself that feedback. One more moment here. And then right hands to your right hip. As you slide your hands down your right leg, press into your right leg here. Keep lifting your chest forward. Shift the weight to your right foot. Now, as you pick up your left foot and then send it back, keep pressing into your right leg. Keep the hinge at your right hip. Notice when your right knee wants to fall in, can you keep your right knee lined up out of your right hip? Maybe you start to reach your left leg long. We're going to stay here. Yeah, you are. Press your hands into your leg. That's it. At the deep hinge here at your right hip. One more moment here. Breathe all the way in and all the way out. Now this time, instead of stepping your left foot back far, I want everybody to lower their left foot right where it's at, so it's in a shorter stance. Stand up here on both of your feet, lengthen your legs. Draw your right hip crease up and back. Feel already how your left hip is drawing forward. So now your left toes aren't as open as they are like in a warrior two. They're more going towards the left corner of your mat. Now with your hands at your hips, hinge at your hips, draw your hips back and reach your chest forward. So almost like using that quality of the halfway lift. You can even pull your elbows towards one another and do a little more active open across your chest work. You could also take your right hand to the back of your head and left hand to the back of your sacrum. And then again, draw your elbows out. All options to add challenges where you need the challenge. And remove the challenge where you don't need the challenge, yeah? Okay, one more moment here. And then let your hands come either to blocks or to the floor and hinge. But keep plugging up at your right hip. Keep pressing down through your left heel. Keep steering your left hip forward. Yeah, that's it. Sometimes even lifting up part of the way and reaching, stretching the chest forward, and then folding again is really lovely. And playing with creating length in your low back, because what's going on in our hips as far as hip flexion, hamstring tightness too, and our low back, it's all connected. It's all connected. Stay here for one more moment. Now bend into your front knee. Slide your left foot back if you're stepping back to a downward facing dog, or step to the top of your mat. So again, you have the option to add the movement and the lowering to the ground and the way that you lower. Maybe knees up this time, maybe knees down. Maybe it's all the way, or maybe it's part of the way. Cobra or upward facing dog to press long into your arms, press the tops of your feet, and exhale, hips up and back for a downward facing dog. Again, you choose how you're bringing your feet to the top of your mat. Take your time, and maybe you're lifting your toes, and you're taking the tippy toe walk. Maybe it's one big step. Halfway lift on your breath in. Draw the front of your throat to the back of your neck. Feel that hugging into the front of your body. And then exhale, fold. Use that space that you created in that halfway lift to then fold over your body. Reach down through your feet, rise. Exhale, pull your hands down in front of your heart. Take your hands towards your left hip. Slide them as you press into your left leg and hinge. You can even lift your right heel here, already starting. And then pick up your right foot. Keep stretching your chest forward. Keep pressing your hands into your left leg. And then when you start to send your right leg back, again, you can keep your right knee bent. That's a great way. It also adds a little hamstring work. If you're craving or looking for a little bit more stability work, start to reach a little bit more length into your right leg. But keep the bend in your left leg today. Hinge at your left hip, reach your chest forward. Keep pressing, keep breathing. Now wherever your right leg is, you're just gonna bring it down. So you're in a shorter stance and then stand up as you rock the weight back to your right foot. Anchor your right heel, draw your left hip back. So you're already steering. So again, hands or hips. Lovely, lovely, lovely. Hands could stay at your hips. Hands could come back. One hand behind your head, one hand at your sacrum. And as you hinge, you keep reaching forward. Keep reaching and keep reaching and keep reaching. So keep plugging in. So notice your left quadricep. And is it working? Sometimes a little tapping at your left thigh. So you can pull up at your left hip crease or pull up at your knee here. Yeah, use that to pull your left hip up and then hinge in. Keep feeling the length. Keep reaching your chest forward. Keep the length in the back of your neck as you fold. Now again, beautiful place for blocks, any height here. Yeah, and sometimes once you get here, taking a halfway lift and feeling the length again and then coming back into the fold is a great way to, again, play with some dynamic spaces in the hips, and notice how maybe that changes. So in your back foot, keep thinking energetically, ball mount of your foot to your heel. So you're anchoring your back heel. as your right hip keeps drawing forward, almost like your right hip is going towards your left big toe. Yeah, that's it. One more moment here. Start to bend into your front leg and then reach your chest forward. So again, you might step forward or slide your right foot back, plant your hands and step back to a downward facing dog. Roll forward for a plank. Knees up or knees down. Reach your chest forward, bend at your elbows part of the way or all the way. Cobra or upward facing dog on your breath in. And then exhale, hips up and back for a downward facing dog. Take your chin here a little side to side. If you're in downward facing dog. If you are in standing at the top of your mat, find your way on down to the ground. If you're in downward facing dog, lower your knees down to the ground. Send your feet to the right and have a seat. As your feet go off to the right here, take your right leg, so just lean back and take your right leg over the top of your left. So this means that your left heel is going to be out of your way. So option 1, you can keep both knees bent here. Option 2, lengthen your left leg. So your bottom leg here, so your left leg in this case can be long or it can be bent. Okay. So for a moment, take both of your hands and interlace your fingers around the front of your shin. Take your hands on your shin and pull up at your shin. So it's like you're scooping your shin up. Yeah. And notice how then again you can create that length in the back of your neck. Length in the whole back line of your body. Even now, we've got this deep bend into the right hip, whether your left leg is bent or straight. Okay. So stay here for a moment. Lengthen. Keep this length. Now, you could stay here. Beautiful. Stay right here. Or let your right hand go and keep the action with your left hand at your left thigh and spin your chest to the left. Reach your right arm back. Keep it lifted and reach your right thumb up. So what I want you to do is pull on your own right leg. Yeah, and use that action at your right hip and using the strength in your left arm to open up the right side of your chest and reach your right shoulder blade towards your spine. But notice if your right shoulder goes up towards your right ear to do that. Yeah, you can roll it down, do what you need to do. And now lower your right fingertips to the ground. You can use your fingertips on the ground to bend your right elbow. And as you bend your right elbow, it's almost like you're pulling in and tucking it into a back pocket, like pulling it in behind your rib cage there. Yeah, that's it, Deidre. And you feel how that aids in that opening across your chest? I know, those little things. Like magic. Say like what I do isn't magic. I don't have any like silver bullets or magic spells, but little hints like that. They feel a little magical, like little magical seeds. Your gaze can stay forward. Your gaze can turn to the side, or your gaze can start to look over your right shoulder, but only if you feel how your chest is leading the way. So your gaze doesn't initiate the twist. Your rib cage does, your thoracic spine, followed by your breastbone. Yeah, that's it, Troy. Feel all that length in that twist. It's glorious. And then when you exhale, let it go. So spin to the other way. Let's counter twist it. You can stay vertical and counter twist it. So you could bring your right arm to around your right shin, your left arm back behind you and sit up tall, or you can bow in. If you're bowing and you're folding, feel how your right hip can still reach away from your chest, and then you'll get a stretch on the outside of your right hip there. And then come on up. Bring yourself back through the center. We're going to lean back. You can, again, hold your right leg, and you can aid with this, or no hands, shift the weight back, pass through a boat, or hold the back of your legs. Toes can stay on the ground. Legs can even be out with heels on the ground. Or skip it, and we'll just go to the other side. But you have an opportunity there if you want to take it, yeah? Again, adding in what makes sense to add in for you. Leave out what doesn't make sense for you today. That's it. Now you're going to take your right leg, pull it underneath, and cross your left leg over the top. And then there you are. Okay. So now your right leg is on the bottom, your left leg is over the top. Your right leg can be bent or your right leg can be long. I find that for a lot of bodies, when the left hip just doesn't quite reach down to the ground and we feel like we're tipping, if we just lengthen the right leg, it gives us the space to balance out our pelvis. So with your left leg bent, feel like you can take both of your hands, interlace your fingers, and pull up on your own shin. And by doing that, right, it's almost like you're scooping up the whole length of your spine. Again, you've got options to add or take away with the bottom leg. Using a little bit of arm strength. Feel almost like how your shoulder blades are like pulling down away from your ears here. Now keep your right hand where it is. So just uncross your fingers. Keep pulling on your own shin here. So keep that traction and start to turn at your belly, turn at your chest. Keep turning and free your left arm back. Now, it doesn't have to go straight back behind you. It can be more like, again, at that diagonal line. That's probably more of an honest space for many of us. I know on my left side it is. And that's perfect. So you're noticing where the rotation of your thoracic spine takes you. And that's what I was saying about the gaze before, is oftentimes when we crane our neck or we over-rely on the mobility in our neck, we lose out on the opportunity to put the work in our thoracic spine. And that's really where we need the twisting work. Now take your left hand and lower your fingertips down to the ground. Now here's a beautiful place to maybe even gaze forward. I find that gazing forward for a lot of people adds a little stretch across the left shoulder, which is really lovely if you have a lot of tension in your chest. Or your gaze can be to the side. Or if you feel that rotation at your chest, start to turn your gaze back behind you or somewhere in between. Now again, that little trick of bending the left elbow and winging it in towards your spine, essentially. It's like you're tucking it back in towards your kidney. Yeah. Deidre has the magic on both sides. Keep the action. Keep pulling. You're on your own left leg here. That's it. Breathing in, lengthening the back of your neck. And then when you exhale, let it all go. Twist to the other side. Now again, here you can stay vertical. Or you can bring both hands down to the ground. Feel how if you reach your chest forward, pull your left hip back. And it's almost like even though your left hip is lifting, if you're bowing, you're still trying to reach it down to the ground. That's it. And then bring yourself back up. Now, option one, on cross, we're going to pass through one more boat. Or let all that go and we'll all meet on our back. So if you're coming through, again, you could hold back behind your knees and help your legs into that spaces. Remember we talked about last time too, toes can always come down to the ground. Yeah, and even tippy toe there. Or you can pull one leg in and then the other. You can hold behind your own knees or reach your hands forward. Or you can lengthen. It gets really tippy and shaky. Again, if you find yourself holding your breath, then you know you've gone in a place where the challenge isn't at just that magical place. We want to be able to find the challenge and we can still breathe, building resiliency. Now, here we are. If you're in boat, take your time and you're going to recline all the way back down. I need to move on my mat to do that though. So as you draw in, use the flexion of your core. Draw in. It's like you're hugging your pubic bone towards your rib cage, pulling in as you lower. Once you get all the way down to the ground, give yourself a moment to say, ah. Wiggle around your hips. You may even roll a little bit on the back of your heels. Now bend both of your knees. Bring your feet back. Now take both of your hands and with your long arms, and what I want you to find is your hands on the tops of your thighs with your elbows long. Okay. And allow that to be a space that sets about how far away your feet are from your pelvis. Now bring your hands down to the ground. Take your shoulder blades underneath you. If you have blocks and you want to bring blocks underneath your sacrum, then take restorative bridge, brilliant. If you want to take one of your blocks, bring it between your knees and work with that integrity of midline, brilliant. If you have no blocks, hands press, shoulders press down through your feet, engage through your glutes to lift your hips. Keep pressing your heels down to the ground. And now imagine if you could energetically pull your heels towards your shoulders. They're not going to go anywhere, but you're creating that life in the back body here. Keep pressing the back of your shoulder blades down. That's it. One more breath here. Now, when you lower, we're going to lower in a very controlled way, in the way that we can, right? So I want you to think about how you could take and lengthen your tailbone. So it's like you're going into almost like a cat shape with your spine when we do cat-cow. Like you're taking your pubic bone towards your belly button and then lower down a vertebrae. Feel each vertebrae as it lowers. And keep lengthening your low back here. Keep using your glutes and keep segmenting all the way down. But you have to keep thinking about pulling your pubic bone towards your belly button. And then when you can't get any more down on the ground, let it go, relax. Take your knees and knock them a little side to side. Then we're going to do one more. So if you have any other variation, if you have wheel in your life, we're doing some nice shoulder work today. So you could take your hands back in line with your ears. You could even do a prep for wheel if you'd like, or stay with bridge, just like what we did. So using your glute, shoulders in place on your mat, press down. If you're prepping for wheel, your hands would go in line with your ears with your fingertips towards your shoulders. And you want to get your thumbs on the ground, okay? So you want to put more action in the thumb side of your hand to then draw your elbows towards the center as you lift your hips. And that's where you stay. That's the work. Just putting the shoulders in a different position. Imagine that maybe someday it goes a different shape or not, right? It doesn't have to ever go anywhere. Sometimes just imagining what the steps are to take us into those different shapes, how exactly we get there, that in itself is beautiful groundwork. If your hands are in line with your ears, or if you lengthen your elbows, bend your elbows. And again, same idea of lowering. So you're taking your pelvis and you're tipping the pubic bone towards your belly button and then reaching your spine down to the ground. Yeah. Take your sweet time. Great work for the low back. Let your glutes go. Knock your knees side to side. If you want to take your feet a little bit wider on your mat, that's also really lovely. Gives you a little more space in your hips, a little more space in the low back then as a consequence of that, which is lovely. The next time your knees go to the left, let them stay there. You could keep your legs in that staggered shape, or if you would like to stack your knees, you can. If you're stacking your knees, today I'd encourage you to bring your thighs closer towards your belly. Reach your right shoulder blade to the ground. Your gaze could stay up. Your gaze can turn to the right. But notice if you're leading with your gaze, and notice if your gaze is going to the right, if you feel any kind of strain or effort in your neck. If you feel any kind of strain or effort in your neck, in this twist, I want you to take your gaze back towards the ceiling. Let the neck be easy as we unwind here. We've already been doing lots of rotation work from the place of stabilizing our hip flexors. Yeah, lots of diagonal work today. Bring your knees back through the center. If they started out staggered, again, you can just unstagger your legs and then roll your knees back through the center so that when your knees go to the right, they could stay staggered. Lovely space here, especially if keeping the left shoulder blade on the ground really feels really supportive and stable. Or you could stack your left knee on top of your right. But today, I want you to see what it'd be like to pull your legs in towards your belly one more time and add the twist. Again, noticing where we automatically want to take our gaze. Sometimes we don't even think about it. It just does it, and that feels good. And then that's perfect. Stay just like that. Sometimes we do things because we think we're supposed to do them, and then we get there and like, oh, wait, that actually doesn't feel great, or or it actually pulls me out of some other places. So sometimes we just make those little modifications, those little tweaks. We find space in other places like the shoulder, space at the hips. One more breath here. And now roll all the way to your right side. Come all the way over. Use your top hand and again, stagger your legs and bring yourself all the way up. As you bring yourself all the way up, take your legs here out in front of you. Take your hands and create a big bend in the knees to start. And reach for the bottoms of your feet or reach back behind your legs. Now I want you to pull on your own feet and think cat-cow again, and think the extension, think the cow shape here of lifting up through our chest and almost like you're sticking your sacrum back behind you some. Okay, so you're finding the front edge of your sitting bones there, or you can be here. Yeah? Now when you exhale, pull on your own feet, spread your shoulders, tuck your chin in towards your throat, and spread your upper back. And so now you're thinking cat, right? So you're tucking your tailbone underneath you as you pull on your own feet. Inhale, take it the other way. Tip through your pelvis and then lift up through your chest. Maybe you keep that bend in the knees or you start to lengthen your knees. Yep. And then exhale, draw in again. Press your feet into your hands. Sometimes you get a nice release in the low back there. And then inhale, pull on your own feet, lift your chest. And again, maybe you lengthen your knees or not. One more time to exhale, round in. One more time to extend the spine with longer legs or bent legs. And now hinge and fold. So use that same reaching the breastbone forward, just like when we were pressing our own legs and hinging. Same thing here. Or here. Or here, right? Taking the legs wide if you need to. Feeling almost like you can nestle in and drape over your own legs. Let the head go if that works in your neck. Yeah. Another moment there. And then take your sweet time, find your way coming all the way up and all the way back down. If you want to take your legs up the wall, or if you want to add any layers of clothing or props underneath you, take your time. Gather what you need. Yeah, that's it. Find place for rest, and sometimes resting is sitting quietly. Sometimes resting is laying on your belly or on your side. Sometimes resting is cuddling up to your dog or your cat. Find that space for you. All beings everywhere, be happy, be free. All beings everywhere, they are loved, they are accepted. So as we find ways that we move and we challenge and we stretch, sometimes physically, sometimes emotionally or cognitively, may there be a place in which we can be held and supported. That as we come out of our comfort zone sometimes, try things that are different, we know that no matter what happens, it'll be okay. It'll be okay as we practice in community. We hold each other up. We support each other as things get tippy sometimes. Things get a little awkward or uncomfortable. That's part of the journey. But know that when you come back into what feels like a landing pad, what feels familiar, that maybe we reintegrate in a different way. Sometimes the pieces fit back together in a different configuration. It doesn't mean that one's better than the other. It's just different. But as we settle back in, know you are loved. Know that you are supported. You are accepted in the way that you show up, in who you are. So maybe you stay just as you are. Maybe you start to wiggle and stretch and find your way on up. Take your time. Be as you are, stay as you are. If you're coming on up, bring your hands into your heart. Once you get there, let them land somewhere on your body that feels comforting, that feels centering. Sometimes just placing our hands on our body is a nice reminder of, here I am. Give yourself a breath in. We'll finish with one Om together. Om. Bowing to our hearts, bowing to each other, honoring this time that we have with one another. Thank you for showing up. Wishing you all a beautiful rest of your week. Stay warm. So cold. Take care. Mwah.